This is another scene from being at the farm. Back in the kitchen, I heard Grandma say to Grandpa, "Frank, go kill us a chicken for supper." She put a pot of water on the stove to boil. Clack. Grandpa went out the kitchen screen door in search of a plump hen. No way I wanted to end up in the middle of a chicken sacrifice, but I was curious, so I positioned myself at the living room window, a safe place from which to watch. The chickens roamed in the side yard, engaged in their daily shopping. Their heads bobbed up and down as they pecked at things on the ground which I couldn't see. Through the windows, I heard what sounded like a casual chicken conversation. I imagine that hen said, "I just found a juicy bug." "Where?" another replied. "Under a leaf." "Okay, hey, jackpot." "Heads up, girls, the old man just came out of the house." I'd witnessed several sacrifices in the past, beheadings to be exact. Positioned over a wood stump in the yard, the victim's head chopped off from its body by one swift blow of an axe. Grandma and Grandpa had planned out those murders in advance, I figured, since they carried their weapon with them. But the wood stump was nowhere to be seen, and Grandpa approached barehanded. He looked over his choices for several moments before he settled on one hen and moved in. She had a different idea and headed away from him. Grandpa doubled his effort, and so did the hen. In a dead run, she flapped her wings, but Grandpa outwitted her, cornered her next to the house, and grabbed her. She screamed. Grandpa held both feet together with his left hand, turned her upside down, and carried her away from the house. Limp and quiet, her wings hung out from her body. Several loose feathers floated to the ground. In the middle of the yard, Grandpa grabbed his victim's neck with his right hand and spun her several turns until her body separated from her head, fell to the ground, and he pitched her head off to the side. Not a pretty picture. Her blood sprayed in all directions as she flopped about and Grandpa stepped back. I figured, as devout Baptist and not a pagan, he wasn't interested in bathing in blood. Nothing good ever happened around the sight of blood in my estimation. Blood meant injury or death from an accident or someone's bad behavior. Plenty of that on TV, and though scary to consider, I was reminded once again that I didn't want Mom to suffer a similar fate at the hands of mean rough Dad. I wanted to prevent that possibility no matter what. The hen lay still within the minute. I arrived in the kitchen to see Grandpa hand the dead hen to Grandma. With one hand, Grandma held the bird over an empty pan, and with the other poured scalding water over it, then plucked the feathers and gutted the corpse. I pictured a single lonely egg left in one of the nests in the coop. Could a similar fate happen to me? Even though I'd watched her die, when fried and set upon the table, the hen tasted delicious. I must have been hungry and appreciated that she'd given her life to benefit me. I tried not to think about how she died, but knew the other chickens had witnessed the sacrifice. I also knew that if I'd seen them through the living room window, they'd seen me. What did the other hens think about the sacrifice? I imagined their chicken conversation. "Did you see what that old man did to Margaret? How awful. I couldn't bear to watch. I just had to run away. And that boy looked through the window and did nothing. Hey, he was the one who stole my egg this morning." Cause to take revenge during my next trip to the chicken coop. Everyone treated killing animals as a necessary way of life, as a food source, certainly never for sport or pleasure. As a city boy, I had a different take on that. I always felt uneasy about killing an animal that could look me in the eye. I equated the death of one animal pretty much to the death of any other on some level, regardless of the reason. However, spiders, tobacco worms, ants, and other bugs, like chiggers and ticks, were pests, and fair game to be squashed on sight. Without warm red blood, according to what I learned in school, I equated them to alien life forms.